order of the Board of Public Works for November 20th, 2023 at 5:50. Next, number 2, approval of minutes of November 6th, 2020 of the Public Works meeting.
So moved.
Motion by Stauber. And by. Yep. I got lost the name. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Any citizens' comments? Huh? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye. No, sir. Number 4, construction updates presented by Tim. I don't see Tim here. Is there anybody taking space?
I'll just say that, yeah, he's not gonna be able to attend tonight. That he's pretty much got everything tied up for this year with his projects. I won't go through all of them for sake of time. And this will probably be the last construction updates for the season.
I've got a question.
Go ahead.
On Lincoln, see the sidewalk goes all the way to 5th. How do we swing that? At one time, we were gonna drop that down. He wasn't gonna allow us to do that.
For the sidewalk on Lincoln from 5th to Adler?
Yeah.
We were having sidewalk, we have a trail that goes to a certain point on Lincoln, and then the last house has sidewalk, yes. Okay.
I thought he wasn't gonna do anything there, and then they were just gonna drop down.
No,
okay.
We were put either sidewalk or trail.
Okay.
It was their choice. So,
Yeah, Josh?
To wrap up the Lincoln project, as you're referring to, the trail is in, the sidewalks in, driveways are in. Pretty much everything's been paved. All they really have left to do is pavement marking, some seating, some signing, and they're hoping to have the barricades pulled by Wednesday evening.
Anything else?
That's all I've got.
Any questions on Lincoln? Russ?
A question on the category of crack filling. I understand from Mr. Tershi that we complete crack filling when we run out of money or when the budget's been exhausted. Approximately how much does that complete in the city of Marshfield? Is there any way to quantify it other than just money?
I would have to turn that back over to Tim because I don't actually deal with that actual contract.
All right. And the reason I ask is if you just drive around town, you see quite a few cracks that are in need of attention.
And generally what they do is they have a budgeted amount and they try to complete the crack filling within the budgeted amount.
Any other questions? Moving on, request to solicit bids for Hillside Cemetery Columbarium presented by Justin Casperson, Director of Parks and Recreation.
Good evening and thank you. The purpose of my memo tonight is to solicit bids for a new columbarium that we put at Hillside Cemetery. If you guys are not familiar with it, a columbarium is an above-ground structure usually made out of a stone material, and it's the final resting place of human cremains or urns. The city built their last one in 2020, and it's filling up quickly. We have very limited double spaces, and we're pretty much out of single spaces. The columbarium or these niches are becoming more popular than traditional ground burials, and ours are filling up quickly. I think we've built our first one probably around 2010. Took about 10 years to build our second one, and in just a short 2 years or 3 years, we're looking at building our third one. So they are growing in popularity. Also, part of that problem is we need to stay ahead of it, and the lead time on this product is about 10 months. So if we wait too long or go too far into 2024, we run the risk of not getting it during the construction season. The funds for this come out of the 801 fund, which is our perpetual care fund. We take all the monies from there and then we repay that fund with sales, so it pays itself back. And then the city does profit or get money from the sales of these columbarium. So what I'm looking for you tonight is to seek approval to solicit bids for a new columbarium for the city's Hillside Cemetery, and then bring back in front of this group for their consideration. I also included some photos in your packet.
Motion. Mike, second. Eric? I'd like to also add that the Veterans Council right now is planning on raising money for one to go in the Field of Honor. We've getting some veterans that want to be put in the Field of Honor and they don't want to go in the ground, so we have a problem there. And as soon as we get the funds, we will be putting one also. I'm hoping maybe 24, 25, depending on how long it takes to get 50 to 60,000.
Currently, that project is scheduled for 2024, but that's obviously dependent on the Veterans Council coming up with the funds. They're not using city taxpayer or tax funds or borrowing funds.
Right.
So it's all dependent on the Veterans Council. So if it doesn't happen until 25, well, I think we'll understand.
Okay. Any questions, Eric?
I did just want to ask, I don't think there's anything wrong with going out and getting bids for this, especially since it's something we were planning for, but do we have a rough idea of, like percentage-wise, how much of the current columbariums are open yet? And then maybe a rough idea of how many columbariums we get versus traditional, like in-ground?
I have all that data. I just don't have it readily available. If you want, I could email it to you.
Yeah,
But
just to see.
yeah, and then they also just buy ahead. So you might be planning for yourself or for mom or dad. So you might be buying it 1, 2, 3, even 5 years, 10 years if you want to ahead. So that's part of the issue is some of them are already purchased, but the people are still alive. And it could be 5 to 10 years out that they're purchasing it for.
That makes sense. Yeah, and I only ask because I live in that area, so we walk through, and it always feels like they're really open, but I kind of wondered the same thing if they do fill up and we just don't see that.
So they do fill up, they do get sold, but then when
Right.
their person passes, then that plaque goes on the space.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Number 6, approval of the purchase of the televising truck and equipment presented by Mark. Always have a problem if you're not. Mark? Yeah.
Good evening.
The wastewater superintendent.
Good evening. Sewer TV inspection unit is an integral part of ensuring a reliable sanitary and storm sewer collection system. Our existing unit has served us well, but will be 10 years old in 2024 and has televised over 1.2 million feet of sewer pipe. It's nearing the end of its service life and is experiencing frequent breakdowns due to normal wear and tear that have become frequent and costly. The CIP has $185,000 allocated in 2024 for replacement of the current TV trailer unit with a new truck unit. This estimate was for standard definition camera equipment. Recently, TV inspection units are moving to high definition. Standard def is available, but will be phased out very soon. HD gives better clarity for diagnosis of defects, has more pixels, which enables a quality picture even when the lens is partially blocked, and will enable manholes to be televised from below while doing mainline inspections. The CIP has $100,000 allocated in this year for purchase of a dedicated manhole televising and scanning unit. This has not been purchased yet. Because an HD unit would also provide clear videos of manholes for general condition assessment, we could eliminate purchasing a dedicated manhole unit and remove it from the CIP. Detailed scanning measurements would not be able to be done, but this is important only for a limited number of manholes for assisting the design of street projects that include sewer replacement. This limited number of scans could be hired out as needed for specific projects. This would be a very cost-effective way of doing it. The combination of these two CIP items is $285,000. The quote from McQueen Equipment for an EnviroSight HD televising truck unit is $265,083. This is an overall savings of $19,917. McQueen Equipment's pricing is per Sourcewell contract 120721 EVS. The city of Marshfield is a member of this competitive municipal purchasing program to ensure we get the best pricing possible for the unit. The reason I'm bringing this to you now is because there's a 6-month delay from the time of order placement to time of delivery. The actual purchase would occur in 2024 as planned. Staff has thoroughly evaluated our sewer assessment televising needs for the next 10 years. The purchase of this TV truck and HD EnviroSight equipment will meet those needs best. Funding for this will be from wastewater utility user fees and not from taxes. Staff recommends approval of estimate number 07Q01264 from McQueen Equipment to place an order for a televising truck with EnviroSight HD equipment in the amount of $265,083.
Gentlemen? Sure. Okay.
Thanks, Mark. I have a question on if we go to this HD unit, how many times are we going to have someone come in and do the specialized viewing? You talked about subbing those out, and what kind of a cost is associated with that?
Yeah, it's $75 a manhole, and there's a few contractors out there that now have these very specialized units. So we'd probably have the year before all the construction projects completed. So, that could be anywhere from 25 to 50 manholes that would need the thorough scanning to assist engineering in the design. So actually the savings of $19,000 would pay for several years of the specialized scanning.
Yeah, that seems logical. Thank you.
And just a quick note on the scanning. This is a brand new type of technology. We haven't had it before, the scanning itself. And so we are actually just trying some different companies right now to see how their scanning operations work.
Okay.
I would make a motion to approve as recommended, and thank you for the thorough, comprehensive review and analysis.
You going to do the second? See the jump on the gun. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Number 7, approval of bidding schedule for sanitary sewer lining, presented by Tom Terzi, Director.
All right, contract 2023-02. Sanitary sewer lining for the city of Marshfield, which will also include 2 storm sewer lines in the city of Marshfield. We're looking at preparing the ad for bid here this week, and start advertising the 1st of December for this project. We want to open bids on Monday, January 8th, and then approve the low bidder at the January 15th Board of Public Works meeting, and then plan the project coming up shortly after that, having them work over winter and through the summer. I'd recommend approval of the bid schedule for sanitary sewer lining.
What's your pleasure, gentlemen? Mike? Have a motion? Second? Derek? Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 8, donation of land at Weber Park, presented by Tom Terzi.
All right, the final section of Adler Road Trail from Sycamore Avenue to the west to Weber Park will need several temporary limited easements to construct the trail for blending the new trail into existing properties. one of the temporary easements needed for the construction of this trail is on city-owned parcel of Weber Park. Following the guidelines requiring for obtaining temporary easements for construction, our right-of-way experts have determined the value for the easements on city property at $50. And in this instance, the city will benefit from the construction of the Adler Road Trail extension, so MSA has sent the necessary forms required for the donation of this easement. I'd recommend approval of the donation of the easements for the Weber Park as shown on the Adler Road Trail project, and to authorize the Director of Public Works and the Park and Recreation Director to sign the necessary documentation on behalf of the city.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Motion to approve, second. Eric, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Number 9, presentation for the sanitary sewer leak-in response, presented by Tom. You're up again.
All right. Okay. On Wednesday morning, November 8th, 2023, the City of Marshfield Wastewater Division discovered a sanitary sewer leak in the force main that serves the north 1/3 of the city. Work began immediately to make repairs on the 20-inch diameter ductile iron force main. So here's kind of the timeline of some of the things that took place on Wednesday, November 8th. At 8 a.m., they noticed some anomalies during morning rounds at the wastewater plant from the previous 24 hours, and then they went to check flow meters. All were working properly. At 9:30 a.m., the problem was narrowed down to the pump stations at the force main. Operators began walking and checking to find the location of a leak. At 10 a.m., the leak was found at Becker Road and Willow Avenue. 10:30, the street division, engineering, plumbing inspector, and wastewater met on site to begin the plan for repair efforts. And by 12:30, emergency locates were completed, and at 11:30, we notified the DNR of the sanitary sewer overflow. We began digging at 12:30 and also began using septic trucks to pump the spillage that was downstream. And in McMillan Creek, at 4:15, we actually shut the pumps down at the northeast lift station and began the project of actually fixing the leak. At 7:05, we had the repair on the pipe completed, and turned the pump station back on and checked for any additional leaks, and began filling at that point, and the DNR was notified that the repair was complete. From the northeast lift station force main pressure readings, it was determined that the leak began at 6:45 a.m. and was leaking about 470 gallons per minute for a total of 945,000 gallons in this leak. We did continue pumping water from McMillan Creek for the next 2 to 3 days until the DNR was satisfied that we had collected the spillage from the force main leak. And so that was kind of the bulk of the timeline on that. But I wanted to also talk about some of the things we did in planning for this project and what happened. Back in 2019, our Clearwater Committee group felt that it would be to our best interest to collect some materials to make any repairs to the force main in the event we maybe had a hit by a utility contractor, as these some locations of this force main, which was installed back in 1975, are not 100% locatable. Last week, we also held another meeting, and we discussed what worked well with this repair, what we could have done better, and we discussed what additional parts we should have on site just in case something like this were to happen again. We also discussed the probable cause of this leak as we plan moving forward. We believe that the cause was that there was corrosion of the pipe directly under the corrugated metal culverts, which were severely rusted, and we believe that the chloride-laden soils began deteriorating the exterior of the pipe right there at Becker Road. So where do we go from here? We're intending to create a project to replace a section of the force main. in 2024 directly under these culverts to remove this section of force main and ensure it does not happen again. Second, with the condition of the corrugated metal culverts, we are planning on working with Wood County to do another 50-50 bridge aid project and replace those corrugated metal pipes with a concrete box culvert. As you may, as part of our this review of this emergency, we discussed what parts we should have on hand in the event of another break occurs. We also felt since this pipe was approaching 50 years old, we should look at a future project to possibly add a force main from the northeast lift station to the treatment plant following Galvin Avenue. And then we would take a look at how do we rehabilitate the existing force main to use it as a backup, and then ensure that we have another 75 plus years of life out of the force mains, the existing and the new one. As you may recall, back in October, we actually signed a task order with Strand Associates to look at the Northeast Lift Station, change out some pumps. And part of that plan was to actually take and evaluate this force main in existence since it is approaching 50 years old. I do want to say thanks to the staff at the wastewater treatment plant for finding this very quickly, the street division for all their efforts in getting the equipment necessary and getting their crews available and working late hours to get this problem located, dug up, and the repairs done so quickly and professionally. I also want to thank the Clearwater Committee for their forward thinking, for getting the parts necessary for making these repairs, and that we didn't have to hunt for parts for an odd size ductile iron pipe. So things kind of worked out very well from the time that we started digging to the time that we actually had the repair made was about 7 hours. So I think, you know, there's probably things we could have done better, but there's also, I think we did a lot of things right in this instance. So are there any questions on the force main leak?
Just out of curiosity, are we looking at any kind of penalties or anything from DNR or any other source out there for something like this?
DNR was out there the entire time, and we also had Wood County Conservation. They were taking tests from McMillan Creek, and like I said, we did continue pumping for 3 days after the fact to make sure that we were collecting everything that was associated with that leak. At this point, I don't think there will be any fines that are associated with that.
Fine.
Tom, thank you very much for the presentation. Thank the wastewater plant for their quick response. 900,000 gallons seems like a lot. Put that in perspective for me, and I guess, you know, saying it'll never happen again, I guess, give me where the tire hits the pavement, I guess, where, you know, how do we avoid that specifically from happening again? Just a more proactive review of the lines and replacement.
Well, first of all, 950,000 gallons. We treat approximately 2.5 million gallons a day. Okay. So our Northeast lift station is the largest pumping station. So it's approximately, I'd say about a third of the daily flow that we see at our wastewater treatment plant, maybe a little bit more than that. Any guarantees? I can't give you guarantees on the our force main, as we could have a contractor dig through it without our knowledge if they didn't get permits to dig. In this instance, we would never have really guessed from some of the pipes that we have, some of the portions of pipes that we have exposed over the last couple of years. We haven't seen this kind of deterioration. This one being directly under those rusted metal culverts, I think was an anomaly that we probably won't see in other locations along here, but we do want to try to address that as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Thanks, Don. Number 10, recommended items for future agenda. Oh, okay. So
I guess I'll have one. Tom and I had discussed this, and I don't know if we ever formalized it, but I think it might be helpful to have an forestry operation in Marshfield. Used to report up through Public Works. Now it's part of Park Recreation and Forestry, I believe. Maybe not. I think just an overview to see where the citizens' money is going and how that department operates would be good.
Yes, I met with Mark and he didn't feel he could make tonight's meeting, so we're looking at the December 4th meeting.
No hurry. Next year would be fine too. Thank you.
Anything else? Not? We're open for adjournment. Motion to adjourn, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned.